reply.
Thank you, Deputy Chairman, sir, for giving me this chance to reply to the clarifications which members have asked. Whilst there are specific questions for which clarifications have been sought, I will answer them specifically. But the general strain of the arguments which have been with a lot of emotion posed here, I would first like to submit to this august house, हम किसी के सामने सर झुके नहीं हैं, और please don't. And I'll cite every instance. I'll cite every instance to prove that this government has not bowed to anybody's pressure. There was no pressure. इसीलिए emotion charged, and I respect the emotions charged. Emotions charged statements that has this government gone to surrender before anybody? I understand. I understand the emotions. But I again reaffirm here before this august house that we have not surrendered to anybody's interest and kept only India's interest above all. And I'll show you how. And I'll show you how. Yeah, I'm coming to specific replies. But because the overwhelming emotion is this, I want to assure this first. Senior member Shri Sitaram Yechuri has raised, I'm going by the sequence in which the speakers have spoken, have raised the issue, 4 issues: food stock holding, SSM, export subsidy, and investments. In Nairobi, SSM, which is used for it, I think, which in the context you've said it, if I've understood it wrong. In Nairobi, there were a lot of discussion, and what we have ensured, and I underline this, what we have ensured is to have a reaffirmation of Bali and the reaffirmation of the General Council's decision, which happened in November 2014, wherein a peace clause was given for perpetuity. The peace clause was not limited to any particular period. Bali agreement for food security mentioned that there will be a permanent solution by 2017.
But until the permanent solution is put in place, let's be clear, the House must not wait.
I have not even finished 2 sentences.
We are
and people are
happy that
reading.
you have...
No.
Let her come. Let her, please.
But let there be no distortion. Reaffirmation, we accept that. That's a good thing. That's all.
I have not implied anything more than what I have said. Bali had agreed that a permanent solution will be given by 2017. After that, in November, in the General Council, a peace clause was obtained for perpetuity, which meant that if by 2017 we get a permanent solution, or by some bad luck, by 2017 a permanent solution is not obtained, because at least there's a peace clause for perpetuity, we will not be pulled to the courts of WTO. And that is got reaffirmed. Both Bali and the peace clause of General Council of November 2014 have got reaffirmed in Nairobi. And that's what I want to underline. And thank you. And from now, it will be our endeavor to ensure that negotiations happen in the Committee of Agriculture special sessions, so that we can have a permanent solution obtained. It will be our best effort. That's on the food stockholding. On the SSM, the special safeguard mechanism. The special safeguard mechanism was a right given to developing countries under the Hong Kong ministerial itself. But after that, not one work proceeded in Geneva to have it on agenda, to discuss it, to detail it, to have a work plan for it. And that is true. Although there were occasionally some meeting in Geneva to talk about SSMs, they did not reach a stage where they could even have a work plan. And when I reached Nairobi, from the discussions that I've had, from various secretariat-related people, from the DG, we didn't get an impression that the SSM was even going to be on the cards for us to discuss it in Nairobi, although it continues from Hong Kong. So we ensured that the special safeguard mechanism will be taken up in Nairobi, not just taken up, not just discussed, but ensure that it will be in the part 2, which means that the ministerial commits to have a commitment and reaffirmation on SSM, which means it will recommit itself to give this right to the developing countries to protect its agriculture from any import surges. And in addition, not just commit, but ensure that they will also commit for a work plan. So what we have wrenched out is that in Nairobi, although prior to it, since after Hong Kong, not much had been discussed in Geneva, we ensured that this special safeguard mechanism will be brought on to the agenda in Nairobi, not just brought on to the agenda, but a commitment be given by the ministerial that the right of the developing countries to safeguard their agriculture from import surges will be reaffirmed, not just be reaffirmed, but also reaffirmed for a commitment for a work plan that we have obtained. And I'm glad to submit to this House that this was not before, but we have done it in this Nairobi meet. That's the second. On export subsidies, I'm not sure now whether Sri Sitaram Yechuri ji talked about export subsidies because he came up with a correction even as I started replying, or on export subsidies and investments. I'm not sure which way he went, but assuming that he did mention about export subsidies, I just want to say here that on export subsidies, we have very clearly, I've also said it in my statement, that the developed countries have agreed to withdraw all the subsidies that they give for export promotion of their goods, which means it will be now beneficial for countries like India to be able to be at par and be able to compete with our products in the international market. So on the contrary, I would say because of this export subsidy, the decision taken there, our exportable products will be better off in competing with the world market rather than be always worried about the way in which other subsidies are working in other countries. So that being taken care of, I would like to say that I'll move to now Mr. Raja's point on higher education. That was also probably raised by Tiruchi Shiva and a few other members. There was not a word spoken on education. Leave just higher education, leave secondary education, primary education, whatever it is. Not a word on education was spoken in Nairobi. Not a word. And therefore, those who are protesting, saying something has been agreed in Nairobi, oh my God, we have surrendered our interest. No, I'm sorry, honorable members. Through you, chairperson, I would like to say that there was nothing discussed on education in Nairobi. You, Tiruchi Sivaji, you did mention about an initial offer made in 2005, some offer made, none of that came on, none of that was discussed, and therefore there was no ministerial commitment given anything to do with education, let me assure you. So that is on higher education.
Will not agree to any such
I'm discussing what happened in MC10, and that is where I'm here. Now, no, that's a subsequent issue, sir. We are talking about what happened in MC10. Now, Shri K.C. Tyagi ji, I can get as emotional because we are all very affected by these issues. He has a command over Hindi. I respect him for that, but I borrow his words. पेट से जमीन से जुड़ा हुआ हम सब पेट से जमीन से जुड़े हुए आदमी ही है जी. हम देश के बाहर जाकर के इस देश का नुकसान नहीं करेंगे कभी भी. आप प्लीज उससे you take assurance from me that we are not the people who will go outside this country. पेट से जुड़े हुए मामले में कुछ समझौता करके नहीं आएंगे, बिल्कुल. I will,
Please,
yes,
please.
if you allow me
Please,
to
Raja.
answer.
Please.
If you allow me to answer.
No, you please continue. Minister, please continue.
I would like to tell you, sir, that I don't have to be disappointed if the suggestion is that only when I compromise on pay says never. I'm disappointed on many things about WTO, about many things about MC10, where I would have loved to have a consensus on Doha developmental issue, in spite of us fighting, in spite not just of us, India, African Union, the LDCs, G33 countries, all of us stood up to speak for continuing reaffirming Doha. So when I come out, when there is no consensus, and when the statement is recording a matter-of-fact thing that the House was divided, disappointment to hoga hi. So I'm disappointed for that, not for anything else which you suggest.
But I'm not disappointed from you.
Thank you. That's kind of you. Sir, दोहा राउंड के बाद पहले से all of us are saying that all the unfulfilled agenda of Doha will have to conclude even when Doha may come to a conclusion. I'm not suggesting here that Doha has come to a conclusion now. The situation is that there was no unanimity on reaffirming Doha. But that leaves a space for us to continue to fight for the continuation of Doha. So I see it as a positive thing where us, G33, Arab group, LDCs, all of us can be together, and we are together even now to continue to fight for the development agenda, to Doha developmental agenda to continue. That's where we have left. That's not a loss of our position, and I think there's room for us to continue doing that. So, K.C. Tyagi ji, आप जरूर assured रहिए, मैं बाहर जा करके भारत देश का नुकसान कुछ भी नहीं किया, ऊपर से हमारे लाभदायक जो भी होना है वो सब करके ही आई हूं. आप assurance ले लीजिए मेरे से. मुंगेकर जी, आप चाह रहे थे कि ऐसे कौन से exceptions है, कौन सा products का exception है. I can't see him here, maybe he's not here, but I just want to say some countries, developed countries which have had this room to have some of their products exported with subsidies given are dairy products by Switzerland, swine meat again by Canada and Norway. These are and also processed food. For these particular 5 countries, Switzerland, Canada, Norway, have I missed out on one? Switzerland, Canada, Norway, only 3, not 5. These 3 countries, for these 3 products, processed products, dairy products and swine meat, have had a cull-out of extra time given to them for withdrawal of subsidy, and they've been given time till 2020. That would answer Shri Mungekar ji. He also referred to paragraph 17, where he says, you have said there was no convergence in these 2 areas, namely anti-dumping and fisheries. and hence no outcome. And that's my statement that I'm quoting, which he referred to quote, there was no convergence in these two areas, and hence no outcome. Therefore, interests of Indian fishermen have been adequately protected, unquote. He says, how is it Indian fishermen's interests have been protected? Obviously, the given position was that Indian farmers, fishermen's interests are safeguarded. Whereas that was being changed. That was an attempt was being made to change it. India strongly argued to keep the special and differential treatment, which is one of the features of WTO. The rules which were being discussed, India opposed those new rules which were being brought, whereby greater power would have been given to WTO's anti-dumping committee, which would have meant that they can come and review our situation here. We opposed it. We did not entertain WTO's committee to come and review our position here, and thereby kept the position of our fishermen intact, kept the position on anti-dumping intact. That's exactly what is meant by my line, but that there was no convergence, and therefore we have ensured that the position which is remaining now is retained. If we had allowed it for the changes, it would have meant that the committee can come and review us, which would have weakened our position. We did not allow it. And therefore, there I can assure Mungekar ji that we have not allowed to weaken the position on anti-dumping or on fishermen. The special and differential treatment continues even now. We have ensured that, and that is why I have put it in the statement also. Navneeta Krishnanji, India has come back with empty hands? Not at all. I'm glad you said that. It is a wrong report, and I can tell you, I've already announced. And therefore, we have not come back with empty hands. On the contrary, we come back strengthening India's position, reinforcing the position which was earlier obtained, and reassured that all positions obtained from Bali, inclusive of Bali, General Council, and even the prior one, which is Hong Kong, are all kept intact, and the ministerial has given a reaffirmation on those. I come to Sri Anand Sharma ji's points. The declaration should have been circulated. Maybe we should have circulated, but it is available in the website. I'm not suggesting anything there, but of course it's available in the website. I've already explained the position on public stockholding, permanent solution, and also the peace clause. The larger coalition still stands by us, and therefore I can assure you, my respected predecessor, that the larger coalition has not deserted us. The G33, I just want to be sure. Para 9, SSM related statement. Certainly we have got a reassurance, and not just a reassurance, a commitment to give a work plan also. So that is there. The LDC statement is there. LDC, India has already extended a lot of what is committed in the WTO. So we are very proud to say that we are sticking to that. Again, on education, which you referred other members and raised that point, I've already explained that there was nothing discussed on education in Nairobi. Doha development, why didn't we red flag? You quoted para 30. We have red flagged it. We have given a written statement. But there, let us underline the fact that it was a statement of what had happened in Nairobi. Division between two groups. It didn't say that Doha developmental round has come to an end and we have not walked out by not protesting such a statement. That statement is not there. Okay?
Yes, that's what I am telling.
Sir, just to conclude my response, the one question which Sukhendra Sekhar Roy had raised about export subsidies withdrawal. For India, it is only the transport and marketing subsidies which come under 9.4, Article 9.4, which is very different from the kind of subsidies developed countries give. And for that, the elimination is only by 2023, not before that. In cotton, of course, we have very clearly said where we don't give any subsidies for exports. It is by 1st January of 2017. We have nothing in this. We don't give any subsidies, so that doesn't affect us at all. I think by answering many people, I've answered also Honorable Member Nachiepan. No promises have been given for anti-dumping or anything. The answer that I gave Honorable Tyagi ji is applicable to Hamare Bhupender Singh ji also. We have not, Sar Jukna before US or EU has not happened, sir, so you can be assured. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered all the questions.
Thank you very much.
I seek the cooperation of all the members in understanding
Thank you.
what has
Thank you very
happened
much.
in Nairobi.